Hey, it's Aaron, and today I have a question from Jay. Jay wants to know, how does a car dealership make money? The salespeople always say that they're losing money on the car deal. So how does a car dealership actually make money? Are they really losing money? It's a good question, because as consumers, we mostly just see the front end of the car dealership. So we see the cars for sale, we see the prices on those cars, and we negotiate to try to get a cheaper price. And we tend to run into, it's common to hear these stories of people running into a salesperson saying, well, I'm losing money at this point on this sale, and the consumer assumes they're full of crap when they say that. So let's talk about how car dealerships make money. Car dealerships traditionally have two ways to make money in terms of how they group their income. There's the front end and the back end. But I tend to think of a car dealership having three streams of income for a dealership. I think about the middle as well. And a lot of the stuff that is considered that middle is actually in the dealership. It would be considered back end, but I think it's worth separating it. So let's talk about those three things. The front end is what most of us see. That's the car for sale with the sticker on the window. We go up, we try to negotiate down on that sticker, and that's how the dealership is making money. They profit from the car we're buying. That's not always the case. It's not uncommon for a dealership to barely break even on a car sale or even lose some money on the sale of a car. That's because there's a whole lot of overhead involved in selling that car to you. Beyond just the dealer fee and the transportation fee and the other stuff that people think is a scam, most of that stuff is covering things like salaries, keeping the lights on, all of that stuff. There's a lot of expense in running a car dealership. Not the least of which is just maintaining an inventory. So a car dealership, it's not uncommon for them to make very little or no money on the actual sale of the car. Most of a car dealership's money actually comes from back-end stuff. That back-end stuff is financing. If they find you financing through one of their lenders, they get a cut of that. If they sell you accessories and add-ons to the car, they're obviously going to make a little bit of money on that. If they get a pretty good deal in terms of what they can do with your trade-in, or there's a few things on the back end that can make the dealership money. Most of it is probably going to be in the repair and accessory shop and in that financing we talked about. Another thing that a dealership can make money on in the back end is the little things that maybe we don't think about, like maybe there's a manufacturer incentive, so they sell the car within a certain time frame, or they sell X number of that particular model or whatever. The manufacturer gives them some kickbacks for that. There can be money made if the vehicle has not been on the lot for too long. So most car dealerships, when they purchase vehicles from the manufacturer, they actually do it on credit. And so they have a window where the car is costing them almost no money to have in terms of buy versus sell. So sometimes a car dealership can make money on that deal. But most of the time on the back end, it's really the financing and the couple of other things they might tack on that are going to make them money on this sale. When you buy things like a maintenance package, when you lease a car, there are certain things that can be money makers there. So the dealership's income is mostly not, in fact, it's almost never from the front end, from selling you the car. It's from all the stuff that happens in the background during and after that sale, especially after it. But some of that is middle. So I think of the shop, the stuff that happens in the dealer's repair and warranty and so on in their shop. I think of that as separate from the back end. And the reason I think of it that way is because the shop can gain or lose money, but most of the time the stuff that's happening in there is non-negotiable. So when things get done in the shop, when you go in to get an oil change and you pay the dealership for that, you're not going to whittle that price down. You're going to pay that price. Like they tell you the brake job costs this much, that's what you're going to pay. And they will make money on that. When they do warranty claims, they often make money from the manufacturer on those. When they do recalls, those are usually paid for. So lots of things like that that make money in the shop itself. Parts and accessories are a big income for a lot of dealerships, especially the ones with very large shops. And usually the parts manager, I've known a few people with this job, the parts manager is often second only to the sales manager in terms of importance at the dealership. Because in terms of income, they probably make more than that sales manager does. So the selling of the vehicle is usually not an income driver for a big income driver for a dealership. Most of the actual income is from what happens after that sale. Capturing that customer and holding that customer is a big deal for dealerships, not just to guarantee sales, because once you buy a car from them, you're probably not going to come back for about 5 years. That's the consumer average. So that's not really a moneymaker for them. It's not you buying the car and your loyalty and buying that car. It's all the stuff you do after you buy the car. That's the loyalty they want. So that's, in a nutshell, kind of how dealerships make money. That's the really generalized version of it. So, in the end, what the dealership looks at is not how is each little department making money for us, it's how are we doing overall. Dealerships want to know a monthly, quarterly, and annual profit. And that doesn't come from the front end, it mostly comes from everything else. So, there you go. Yeah. If you've got a question, hit me up. You can find the comments down below and ask. You can find me on like Facebook or Instagram or any of those. This question actually came through Instagram. It was a DM. Make sure you direct message or that you tag me if you find me on social media and want to ask a question. Also, if you are a member of my new members area, your questions will get priority. So ask your question here on YouTube if you are a member, and I will push you to the top of the line. And yeah, so anyway, that was a great question. All right, this has been Aaron. Talk to you again soon.